43 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Lisa Brooks.
From Gig Harbor to Greenwood, this is KIRO Radio, 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Big Lead is brought to you by 3010 Weight Loss for Life.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
We are coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio and streaming on Facebook Live. Welcome to The Big Show. May I tell you the story that everybody in the region has been talking about is a few days ago, surveillance video inside an Office Depot store was released down in Lacey, and it shows Tim Eyman just kind of sitting in a chair that was on display. He spins around a few times, then he just wheels the chair out to his vehicle. Apparently loaded it in the vehicle. Then he went back in the store and bought a couple of printers, but he did not pay for the chair. And so the Lacey City prosecutor has now filed a shoplifting charge against Tim Eyman, and his lawyers released a statement yesterday and said that Mr. Eyman will not be talking to the media. But he's going to talk to us, Nicole? You told me that Tim's coming on with us this afternoon.
Yes, he's got a plan for today, and he'll have some news to break to us at 2 o'clock.
Okay, so we'll try to get an explanation for the story that the entire region has been talking about. Did Tim Eyman shoplift a chair, as has now been alleged in legal documents by the Lacey City prosecutor? So he will join us live a little bit later this afternoon. Can't wait to see what he's going to say about all of this.
Oh, it's going to be good. I got a little preview.
Well, you're kind of being coy about this whole thing with me. You said that there's something kind of odd.
Sworn to secrecy.
There's something kind of odd with this whole thing.
Yeah, he's trying to have fun with it. So we'll see how it goes.
With a shoplifting charge. He's trying to have fun with a shoplifting charge. Okay. All right.
Of course. Yes.
Okay. So you will be as surprised as I am, sure, when we talk to him live a little bit later this afternoon. But we've got a lot of other news to get to. Let's get right into the big lead.
The Big Lead. Your tax dollars at work.
I've talked a lot. It's odd how every second of my life has seemed to be contrarian. My wife and I were just going through some childhood photos, and there's a picture of me and my little friend, Christina. I'm about 3 years old, and we're visiting Santa Claus at Northgate. And she looks delighted. I look like I'm staring at a freak show because I did not ever believe in Santa Claus. Even when I was 3 years old, my mom desperately tried to get me to believe, and I wouldn't. It didn't make any sense to me. I logically could not make the Santa thing work. And so even when I was 2 and 3 years old, I just refused, despite my mom's best efforts, to believe in Santa. I've always been a bit of a contrarian. When I was a little kid, Seattle was about lumberjacks and fishermen and self-sufficiency. We'll take care of our own lives. And I grew up contrary to that. Yeah, no dad, no money. Mom was hoping for some miracle in the mail that would never arrive, Publishers Clearinghouse or something like that. So again, when I was a little kid, when the whole city was independence and self-sufficiency, I was growing up with, we need a miracle. We need to get lucky. We need somebody to take care of us. And then I get into my later teens, and I woke up, and I realized, well, nobody else is going to take care of me. Government isn't going to make my life, it's not going to allow me to achieve any hopes and dreams that I might have. And so I said, okay, I'm going to get into goal setting and self-sufficiency and just outworking my competition, and I'll work 2 or 3 jobs. And I'll go to college full-time while I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. And right at that time, the Seattle area goes 180 degrees opposite again. We went from a self-sufficient lumberjack fisherman, I'll take care of my own life city, to a city that we have now. Socialist Marxism, other people will take care of me. I don't have to work. Government will provide for me. If I'm not willing to work, they'll just give me free stuff. But it's weird that almost every second of my life, I've seemed to be contrary to the tone and the rhythm of this region. And I bring all of this up because the last few days have just reinforced what is the danger of this socialist Marxist ideal. We've got a lot of people who just want free stuff. They're too lazy to go and achieve on their own. They are not willing to outwork their competition. They don't have time to get a second job. If their first job isn't quite paying the bills, they could get a second job. There's jobs available out there. You can work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you can take care of yourself. But no. The politician's message is, no, just vote for us. You can be as lazy, as slothful as you want, and government will barely take care of you. And that's the key. Barely take care of you. Because they want you to be beholden to them. They want you to just barely be able to survive. So if they cut you off, then you're not going to be able to get by anymore. So you'll have to keep voting for the socialist Marxists. Because the only other option for the people who vote for them is, I'd have to start working harder. And people don't want to do that. I've noticed this the last few days as we have had both locally and nationally a mania for the left to just be promising free stuff to people. And man, I tell you what, Jenny Durkin, she had her State of the City speech yesterday. And I played some of these clips during yesterday's show. But the whole message was, I will give you free stuff.
Give more than 1,500 low-income residents an unlimited year-round Orca card.
Yes, I will provide your transportation. Just keep voting for me. I know. They could work a second job, and they could pay for their own transportation. But no. Why? Why? If Jenny Durkin's going to give you free transportation, she'll give you free college.
I want to get free college tuition for every graduate of Seattle Public School to build economic opportunity for those kids.
Now, again, it's not free. It's taking somebody else's money, making people pay for other people's kids. But she will give it to you for free. You could pay for your own community college. I've gone through the numbers. If high school juniors started working summer times and 2 evenings a week, starting their junior year in high school, they could easily set aside enough money to pay for their own college. As I said, I worked 50 hours a week, and I had to go to community college. I couldn't even think about the UW when I graduated high school. We didn't have the money. I didn't have the money. So I worked 50 hours a week at a print shop, and I paid for my own Shoreline Community College. But no. Vote for Jenny. She'll give you free stuff. Nationally, the Democrats, they will give you free stuff. You want health care? We'll give it to you.
People often say, like, how are you going to pay for it? And I find the question so puzzling because how do you pay for something that's more affordable? How do you pay for cheaper rent? How do you pay for, you just pay for it.
You just pay for it. Government will just pay for it. You want rent? We'll give it to you. You want medical care? We'll give it to you. Just vote for the Democrat socialists. Right? Right, Bernie?
Bernie Sanders and I will work together to make college tuition free for the middle class and debt-free for all.
Yes, debt-free. Again, you could do it yourself. But why? Why should you have to do it yourself? Government will allow you to just barely scrape by. Right, Elizabeth Warren?
I'm proposing a big structural change. Universal, high-quality child care and early education for our littlest ones. Available to every parent who wants it.
For free! Yes, you crank out a kid or two or three. Why should you have to take care of your own kids? Why in the world should you as a parent have to be responsible for your own children if Elizabeth Warren will give you other people's money to pay for your choice to have kids? So these are the wondrous times that we're at right now, where self-sufficiency, outworking your competition, working a second or a third job, all of those are dated, outmoded, old-fashioned, ridiculous ideas. Why work if the Dems will give you everything for free? What a wondrous land this will be when the Marxists fully take over. Isn't that awesome? Next up in the big league.
The big lead. Your tax dollars at work.
I had somebody reach out to me on Twitter last night because there was a news story about how tolling every inch of every road in the region is a step closer to reality. Now, and somebody forwarded it to me on Twitter and said, "You're Nostradamus." No, I had really good sources. I am proud of the specificity with which we called this, because it was 2000, the year 2000, when my sources told me about the 20-year plan to toll every road in the region. I had great sources who sat in on these meetings. And here we are 19 years later, and the state is very close to making that happen. Now, again, they are disguising it because other than the listeners to this show, the masses seem to be pretty dumb around here. So even the most moronic of politicians can outthink the most moronic of voters. And so the state of Washington is a step closer to a pay-per-mile driving program where they'll keep the gas tax. They might lower it, but they'll keep the gas tax. And then they say they're going to start at 2.4 cents per mile. So if you have an electric car, you will pay the same as somebody who has a 13-mile-a-gallon gas-guzzling SUV. Because apparently they don't want to reward the energy conservers anymore. They used to want that. They used to say, hey, get an electric car and you won't have to pay the second highest gas tax in the country. Now it's, oh yeah, we got to find a way to soak the electric car owners too. But I have told you that this is just the start if we allow this to happen. There are a couple of ways that they're trying to get inside of our vehicles and inside of our lives. They want a transponder in every vehicle. And so every inch you drive, they'll know where you drove, when you drove it. And the eventual goal is to make it cost $20 to go into downtown Seattle and 20 cents to take your kid to school. But they want variable tolling on every road. And they said, no, we're just going to start at 2.4 cents per mile for every mile, regardless of where you're driving. No, I've been telling you about this for almost 20 years now. It's unfolding at exactly the timetable that I told you about way back when, and everything that I've said about this has been 100% accurate. That they want to just get the transponders in the vehicles, make you think it's just going to be 2.4 cents a mile, and then they will very quickly move to doing variable tolling so that if you're driving in morning and afternoon rush hour, you will get soaked. Perhaps as much as $10 to $20 a day. $20 a day. $5,000 a year that would go from your family to the government per driver. We got a husband and a wife. I'm sorry, a couple. Not supposed to specify gender. No, you got a husband and wife, and you're both driving. Maybe it's $10,000 that you'll have to transfer from your family to the government. Do not be fooled by the 2.4 cents per mile that they're talking about, because that's exactly what they are discussing in Olympia right now. And they're hoping that people will let their guard down. And this is one of the greatest fights of my radio career, because I know that this will be the most massive transfer of tax money from families in this state to government control. And their desire for your money is absolutely insatiable. And if we let this happen, then shame on us. Because it will absolutely destroy a lot of families financially if we allow the pay per mile to go through. So I will keep posted on how we must fight this, but fight we must. And we much and will much fight much, as the Reverend Al would say. That is your big lead for today.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
There was a protest at Patty Murray's U.S. Senate office in downtown Seattle yesterday. You probably didn't hear much about it unless you listened to my show. Actually, I think one TV station did cover it after I tried shaming them all yesterday. Details coming up next here on the Dori Monson Show.